feel like everything I was set out to do, it came true, and as long as I worked hard, but also like I feel like it was no place like home, just getting my jersey retired, but also, like I said, it was special just being at home.
How was it, obviously, seeing Jalen come in and, see where he's playing now?
I enjoyed being with Jalen on and playing with those guys. Like Jalen threw me his first touchdown.
You haven't officially retired, but, are you still training, still considering about playing? Are those days kind of done for you?
Yeah.
We're living in a good old days. Take a look around. Ain't it funny how feels like we're in a good old days.
Welcome back to Glory Daze, an Almost Friday Media original. I'm Johnny Manziel. I have one of my favorite receivers on the show, SEC legend, a guy that I really enjoyed watching play as a South Carolina Gamecock and as a Philadelphia Eagle and a Chicago Bears, Alshon Jeffery. What's up, bro? I appreciate you coming on the pod, taking the time out of your day, man. It's been, I think a couple years ago, we got a chance to go to Atlanta. We had the SEC Legends Award that we got to do together, which was a pretty cool experience, but nice to have you on. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Thanks for having me, first of all.
Of course, brother. When this episode airs, when we finally come out with this, it'll be about playoff time for the NFL, so I know you've probably been watching a little bit of your Eagles, seeing how they've been doing this year. You think this is a year they can probably go and make another Super Bowl runs they haven't done since you were there?
Definitely think we're gonna make a run this year. I think it's the year. We gotta stick to our identity. Identity is just running the ball like 26 and 1 as long as the ball in their hand, and we'll build from there. Like our defense is playing lights out, so as long as we stay consistent in that, and then our passing game where everyone's healthy. We clicking on all cylinders. It's gonna be tough. We're gonna be tough to beat.
Obviously the Saquon addition this year has been, kind of exactly what you guys needed. People kind of wrote him off a little bit before he gets there, and he comes out and really has almost an MVP caliber season for the most part.
We appreciate the Giants. We love that viral clip. We appreciate the Giants. We thank you. We're grateful for that.
Yeah.
Actually, he came back home. He played at Penn State, so he came back home.
No doubt. It's always hard to not talk about the Chiefs, in the Super Bowl conversation of this year. But, I think if any year, this is probably the best, the Eagles have looked to be able to match up with them. You definitely think, in your opinion, though, that the Eagles have enough to be able to go and win it all for sure, though, huh?
Yeah, I definitely do. I'm not discrediting this. Don't never underestimate the champion. The Chiefs is a 2-time champion. They're going for a 3-peat. So I get all respect to them. You got to respect the game. So it wouldn't surprise me that they get back there. But this year, I feel like it's going to be a different outcome.
Different outcome than the last time.
Yeah.
Obviously, a great game they had the first time around, but be tuned in to see if the Eagles can get it done. They're my favorite throughout this playoff run. I think they're the most complete looking team out of anybody. And obviously, this last week, you see Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown maybe trying to get a little torn up by the media and stuff, and they come out, have a great week, and kind of put everything to rest. So, it's going to be fun watching them throughout the playoffs and see how this goes.
Yeah, I just feel like in the playoffs, it's run game, so. We got that. We got great defense and a great run game, and every possession matters in the playoffs. So, like I said, I like the way we stack up against anybody.
They look good. We haven't seen them have this kind of swagger since you guys made that run, winning the first title. How was that year for you? Going into there, you guys had a special team. Obviously, Carson Wentz coming into the mix to start the season, but. Back in the day, you had a Players Tribune article that mentioned, the first time you talked to Wentz, his mind was set on a championship. So just talk about how the chemistry was on that team a little bit and how you guys were kind of destined for that run.
I think that it started with the culture, with Coach Peterson and the coaching staff, and the ownership, everyone just bought in. But from the first day I got there, in OTAs, I'm like, all right, we got something to build. Because I thought we played Philly the year before when I was on the Bears, and I'm like, all right, Wentz was doing pretty well against us. He was handling, being a rookie, I really didn't know much about his game, but they won the game and he did well. So when I got to Philly, I seen all the pieces that we was adding with myself, with LeGarrette, and we had Torrey Smith, and just every day in practice, and Coach Peterson used to be one day at a time, and just always we preach team. So it was like everybody gonna have a big game, but it's just like just buy into the team thing.
We had Kenyon Barner on the pod. He said that even when Wentz got hurt and Foles kind of stepped in, that you guys, it didn't really change your mindset about anything. Like it was just kind of next man up, and you guys knew you were still going to ball. Didn't matter who was playing the quarterback position. You had two capable guys. Usually whenever you have your guy go down, your number one QB, it usually adds a little bit of, panic maybe a little bit, but that didn't seem to be the case with you guys that year.
I thought we had the luxury of having Nick on our team. Like they did a great job of managing it, and just seeing it every day on the scout team. Like when Nick was on the scout team, you could see he could make all the throws. He was doing a lot of crazy stuff that I felt like. So when he got in there, get his opportunity, he was going to ball. So it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, there's obviously big differences between what kind of quarterbacks they are, though, too. Like, Nick obviously being a lot more pocket passer than you saw with Wentz, running around, making plays. That affect your game a little bit at all? Or you just kind of, just doing what you needed to do and just getting open?
I would say with Nick, it was just like he just always just told me, Alshon, let's just play basketball. Like no matter what you do, I'm a throw the ball, dictate off you, but also he said it starts with you. Like, so let's just continue to build and let's just keep working. Like, I think Nick was great at, I would say like his communication, he was always just so calm, cool, and collect. Like, it was just something that, it was an aura about him. Like when he got in there, it's just like, oh shit, well, I felt like that's when, to relate with Kenyon saying like, not like we missed the beat, just that his confidence that he was in there.
When I think back about that year when you guys get to the Super Bowl, I remember the interview where, they're making you guys do all that stuff before the Super Bowl, and you were kind of just like, over it for the most part, that you were just ready to get to the point of where you were playing ball. What, when you look back at that, what was it about that? Just so much of the other outside stuff at the Super Bowl that wouldn't allow you guys to focus on, the actual football stuff of it?
I just think honestly, it was the guy before him. He just caught the whiff of it. He was just the guy who interviewed me before him. He was talking about like the Patriots going to beat us. Like it was a lot of. I thought maybe he was from Boston, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of that. But the guy just caught a little heat from him. I was already built up from him, and I really was tired of the interviews though.
Yeah, I mean, you guys come into that game, obviously a lot of talk about Brady, the Patriots, everybody. I'm sure it kind of, gets old. But you guys go into that game, a little bit of underdogs had to give you guys even more of a spark to go out and play the way you did that day.
I mean, I think the world just thought we was underdogs. We never thought that.
Yeah.
And for me personally, like the year before I played against the Patriots, I was, the joint practices. I played on the Bears and we dominated them.
Yeah.
In 7 days. I'm not saying Tom Brady didn't ball and they didn't ball, but I felt like we won. We had the better hand. We won most of the week. So when I got to the Eagles, I'm like, oh shit, like this team we built for them. I mean, I hope we know what we could do and what we capable of.
Football season is back, and my partner Underdog wants to make it a lot more exciting for you. Join the millions of fans who played on Underdog last year. With their Pick'em game, you can win up to 1,000 times your money by making sports picks. It's time to turn those takes into cash by going higher or lower on player stats, like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and plenty more to choose from. Submit entries including NFL, college football, or mix and match across your other favorite sports to win big. Here are my money picks of the week. Underdog is available in 30-plus states, including California, Florida, Texas, and even Canada. So what are you waiting for? Sign up now and deposit using promo code Johnny to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. So as you guys get to that Super Bowl, obviously you're trying to come in and knock off the Patriots. You catch the first touchdown of the game. How was that? Just kind of get the rust off and just be able to be like, all right, we're here. That's one of those, moments in the game where you're like, Super Bowl, biggest stage, first TD of the game. You just kind of just started off on the right note.
Shout out to Nick. I feel like we practiced that plays 1,000 times, but we practiced throwing it to either Nelly or Torrey. And we always used to be like, Coach Grove and all us used to be like, you never know when the ball is coming your way, so just be ready and don't run no route. Like just a decoy route in our offense was you are live. So.
Yep. You set the tone for the rest of the game. You guys go on to win 44-31. How was that celebration afterwards? Obviously, after you go through a season like that, that celebration has to be just the cherry on top of everything and getting the ring.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I will say, soon as the clock hit zero, like at first I'm like, we didn't know what to do, but we really did it. Like Brett Selleck, we was talking, And it's a video of it, it's a clip that he was like, you fucking told me that we was going to Super Bowl when you first got here. I'm like, well, I told you, like, I had that belief and I had that faith, though, that this team was going to do something special, though. And after all the interviews, the crazy part, afterwards, I run into Giselle afterwards, and she was like, congratulations. I'm like, oh, shit. I didn't know what to say, so I just said, thank you, that's it. I'm like, but that was pretty crazy.
You know, I have to ask about the parade in Philly. It looked like, you know, it was fucking lit, you know. Jason Kelce and that speech and everything was just, you know, one of the highlights of that whole thing. How was it, you know, playing with a guy like that? Jason's obviously, you know, a legend in his own right.
Kelce, he's still Kelce. I feel like even the Kelce you see today on TV, that's always been Kelce. He always had that energy and that passion and charisma. Like, he's hella funny, but he's very passionate about everything. And the Super Bowl speech, I just felt that it was built up with him. Like, just built up all season long and probably from his career, too, because I believe he was probably going to retire before that, the year before that. I think the year before that was his last year, but he stuck it out, so...
You know, before you have that great run in Philly, you obviously have some time in Chicago. You know, you get drafted to the Bears in 2012. You know, your dad was a big, you know, Walter Payton Bears guy. So, you know, as you get there, you know, how was that? You know, obviously, you know, meant a lot to him. You're obviously being there, I'm sure.
I mean, he talked about Walter Payton all the time when I grew up as a kid. And he used to talk about the 85 Bears. It was one of the best teams. So I'm like, I'm really playing for the Bears. Like, and then going into the building and just seeing all the stuff that's on the wall, and I'm like, oh, you really see the Walter Payton Center, everything, all the players that played for the Bears, the 85 Shuffle, the song that they had.
Yeah.
You see all that, and then also playing with, I feel like I played with a lot of Hall of Famers, and it was an older team with Brian Urlacher, Julius Peppers, Devin Hester, Peanut Tillman, Brandon Marshall, like. I feel like Matt Forte, Jay Cutler, it was a lot of players that I could learn from, but it was like just going in there. So they just took me under their wing.
Yeah, it had to be nice, obviously, playing with some guys and playing with some vets, kind of show you the ropes a little bit. Did you feel like Chicago, when you were going through the draft, was going to be a place you were going to end up, or was it a little bit of a surprise for you?
Nah, true story. I thought, yeah. When you do the interview process, their receiver coach at the time was texting me all the time, and he was just like, "Yeah, we gonna draft you. I'm telling you." I did not want to go there, but I'm like, but he's just like, he just stayed consistent and let me know that they was going to give me a shot. So
where'd you really want to go in the draft if you could have picked?
Anywhere but the cold, but it all worked out.
Anywhere but the cold. I kind of had that mindset a little bit whenever I was getting drafted too. Being from the South, you know, you're not used to that. You're not used to those Chicago or Cleveland winters or anything. It's definitely an adjustment when that November rolls around for the first time.
It snowed a lot.
It is brutal.
And when I first got there, it was a rule that, so we always practice outside. So I used to look at it, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like 5 a.m. it's -10. But Erlacher and those guys used to be like, "Oh, we practice outside, and we don't wear no sleeves." I'm like, "What y'all? I'm from the South." I'm like, and I used to be trying to talk to Devin Hester. I'm like, "Yo, D, go talk to them boys about Manning." He's like, "Nah, we can't do nothing about that." He's like, "When I came here, they did the same thing to me, so I had to get adjusted with it real quick."
Yeah, we would have days like that in Cleveland. We would go inside occasionally, but for the most part, you guys never went inside, never did nothing.
Never.
That's an old head mentality.
That's the only thing that I felt like. Some of the best chicken broth or hot chocolates, it was at practice.
No doubt. You know, your first season there, you dealt with some injuries, but you kind of go off in your second year and start breaking some records. You know, how was it, you know, obviously dealing with some adversity that first year and then being able to come back in year two and be able to kind of, you know, right the ship?
I mean, I knew I could play. I just felt like probably my rookie year was just getting adjusted and getting more into a routine about a lot of things, like just because I got so much free time, but what I'm going to do with it, like, as you know.
Yep.
So, I learned from that, and I also just listened to what B. Marshall and the guys was telling me. So my second year, I definitely was a lot more prepared.
Yeah, one of my, you know, favorite guys that I love watching whenever I was growing up. I love the way Jay Cutler played, especially, you know, whenever his time was in Chicago. You know, how was it playing with a guy like that? Obviously, would cut it loose and sling it around at any given time.
I mean, I love Jay. Jay was a competitor. I know a lot of people give him a lot of slack sometimes, but he was competitive. Once you really get to know him, like, he'll look out for you. He'll take you on his wings. Like, he did a lot of stuff for me off the field as well. But on the field, like, you play quarterback, like, he would let me be more freelance and let me do my thing. And if it didn't work out, it'll go. I'll have to do it his way. But for the most part, Jay was great at communicating. And he the only quarterback that I know definitely could throw the ball through the wind, like cut through the wind in practice. And then in Soldier Field, like it's so windy out there. Like,
it is. I also want to talk to you about our new favorite partners, Dollar Shave Club. It's no surprise what facial hair is personal. We all grow it, shave it, and style it differently. And we think that's pretty great. It makes us all more interesting and unique. That's why in this club, we make the razors and you make the rules. Stubbled, bearded, clean shaven, or mountain man, Dollar Shave Club is for everybody and every budget. Whatever you shave, welcome to the club. Let me introduce you to some of the top sellers that are going to make your grooming routine feel like a spa day. First up, meet the Club Series 6 blade razor. This isn't just any razor. It's like a mini vacation for your face. With 6 stainless steel blades and a vitamin E infused lubricant strip, this razor delivers the closest, most comfortable shave imaginable. It's so comfy your skin might just want to take a nap afterwards. Plus, the precision trimmer is perfect for those little detail areas, because we all know how important those are. The Club Series handle that goes with it has no slip, 360-degree diamond pattern grip, so it's super clingy, in a good way. My favorite shave aid is the shave butter. It's so soft and hydrating, so it helps the razor glide perfectly across my face. But don't take my word for it. Try for yourself. Dollar Shave Club products are now available everywhere, so you can order from their website, Amazon, or get them at their favorite retailer near you. Or you can visit their site right now for 20% off, $20 or more, and get your products delivered right to your door. Visit dollarshaveclub.com/Glory Daze and use promo code Johnny for 20% off, $20 or more. And remember, whatever you shave, welcome to the club. Having B. Marsh in the receiver room had to have been nice for you as you were coming in as a rook. How was it playing with a vet like him, during your time in Chicago?
it worked out well because I feel like B. Marshall, we would say he's more of an alpha, but he was more of a talker, outgoing, and let you tell it to you to your face how it is. So I really loved it. Our relationship worked out well because I would egg him on, like, you let him do that to you? X, Y, Z. So it all worked out. Like, so B. Marshall, he always looked out for me, and still to this day, he always be looking out for me.
You know, as you finish your career in Chicago, you passed Walter Payton on the all-time receiving list for, the Bears. What did that mean to you? Did you even think much about it at that time?
I didn't really think too much about it at that time because I never wanted to leave Chicago.
Yeah, so, you wanted to stay?
Yeah. I didn't really think too much about that at the time.
Was it kind of your decision to be able to get out of there? Or just it kind of went that way?
I feel like it was kind of went that way. It's a business side of it, and they felt that it was, time to move on. So it was a mutual agreement.
Were there places you were looking at outside of Philly to go to, or was it just set on going there?
The Patriots actually came with the biggest offer.
Yeah.
And then they came back at the end and tried to lowball me with something. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going there.
As you get to the Eagles, the season after winning the Super Bowl, it seems like you had a little bit of adversity hit. You're facing some injuries. Is that the first time throughout your career where, you felt like you started to struggle a little bit with it?
Nah. I mean, I felt like that whole year we won the Super Bowl, I played with a torn shoulder. So you
were already used to playing banged up and stuff too?
Yeah, so I was used to it.
You end up getting released in 2020 after that season. How was the conversation with the coaches, and how was it trying to continue, your mind as far as continuing to play football after that?
I think I was at peace with it because I feel like COVID happened. There was a lot of things that's going on in the world outside of football. The world, other things to me was more important, and so I was at peace with that.
That COVID year obviously had to be, an interesting kind of tough year to be able to go through that. All the regulations and everything that was kind of going on had to make it pretty tough to be able to, treat it like normal football for the most part.
I mean, it was, for me, I treated it, I feel like I was more of the vet, or I would say OG, so I was just trying to give all the young players knowledge. So it was fun. I was just every day just showing up with a positive attitude, So for me, it was different. So I enjoyed being with Jalen and playing with those guys. Jalen threw me his first touchdown. So I just but every day we used to work, and I used to talk to them about a lot of stuff that I would be prepared for and treat their bodies or outside of the football field.
You kind of went into that mentor role a little bit. How was it, obviously, seeing Jalen come in and, see where he's playing now? That was something you saw in him from early on. Whenever you got there, you're like, this kid's going to be legit?
Honestly, I'm going to just say you had to be there to see it from day one.
Yeah.
We all knew if you was there on that team, you knew it was going to be a problem. It just was a matter of time that he was really working. He was every day, he just kept getting better, and he was tearing our first team defense up when he was on the scout team as a quarterback. Every day he just kept getting better.
That's one thing you hear about him too, is he's a grinder through it all. He's got an unbelievable work ethic to be able to get him to where, he is today. You still have a good relationship with the Eagles organization, huh?
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Super Bowl and everything, I saw earlier this year you went to a game, they showed you a lot of love. How is it being able to have such a good relationship with obviously a team you did so much with?
It's amazing. I feel like we always be family. We always indebted. From the ownership to the GM to the players, I feel like the culture we created there, or they have and created there before I got there, but when I got there, we took it to a whole nother level, and it's still there.
Outside of winning the Super Bowl, what do you think some of your best memories from playing with the Eagles are?
I feel like the things we used to do together as a team, like going to someone's birthday party, or just hanging out outside of the building and stuff like that, just really getting to know each other, and that's what really helped us.
You obviously had a great NFL career, but really it all started back in South Carolina. It's where you grew up, decided to stay for college, and really made a name for yourself there. But, there was a point in time where you were almost going to another USC. What went into that decision to obviously, eventually end up going to the right one? I
would say family and friends. Coach Shane Beamer, who's our head coach right now, shout out to Coach Beamer, because if it wasn't for him, I would never went to South Carolina. He just always stayed on me and recruited me heavily and just always been honest with me. He didn't promise me anything. He just stayed true to who he was, and he just stayed consistent. I feel honored. I just respected him more, and we just built a relationship up from there.
As a true freshman, you had a big breakout game against Kentucky where you had 7 for 138 and 3 tutties. Second biggest performance in school history. Was that a big moment for you to be like, oh, okay, I'm kind of here. This is me kind of coming out, and this is what I'm going to be moving forward. It had to give you a little bit of confidence in that for sure.
Yeah, no, because I felt like I already been. It was just my opportunity.
Yep.
It's just me getting my opportunity because they seen it every day in practice. I just probably kept coming along slowly, but once it really clicked, it was over with.
I'm curious today, you see the way college football is, this transfer portal and everything. When guys don't get a big moment these days, they're kind of bouncing around and jumping ship and kind of going everywhere and entering the portal. What do you make of the world of college football and how it is today? It's way different from when we were in school for sure.
Oh, you're right. It's different. But if it was me, I just feel like adversity, it don't teach you it don't help you with no adversity. Everybody got money, they just throwing around. You can win I can win a championship here, then I go play with you.
No doubt.
We maybe got a championship, opportunity to win a championship. But on the flip side, I look at it coaches recruit you, but they also leave. They give you a lot of promises and say this, but they leave also. So I'm not mad at some of the kids that leave, but also I look at it, some of them could be missing out on the opportunity, just being patient, just waiting their turn.
It definitely was tough in the past. You see, you get recruited by somebody to go to a school. They take a better deal to go somewhere else for more money, and then you're stuck. Or you sit out a year, you lose a year of eligibility going somewhere else. So it's kind of a fine line right now of guys just having some time where they struggle for a second, and then they take up and they pack up and go immediately. Or back in our day, you definitely had to stick it out and go through that adversity and try to grind your way through it a little bit.
Coach Carroll told me that he wasn't leaving SC, and then I feel like I decommitted on signing day. I signed with South Carolina, and that same year he goes to the NFL. So
so it's one of those situations you go all the way across the country from home, you end up going to a place like USC, and then the guy you committed to is just gone.
Yeah,
and it just kind of shifts the whole thing. So I think in college football now they're trying to figure out what the best thing is, but guys are definitely out here getting some money for sure.
Y'all had the #1 recruiting class.
Yep.
What, 2 years ago or last year?
2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
NIL money, though.
Yep.
So
it definitely makes a difference, I want to talk to you about Gametime, an app that makes it super easy to get tickets to all your favorite live events. I'm hoping to go to more games this year, and Gametime helps me find the best available tickets. Gametime has a feature called Gametime Picks that filters out all the fluff and makes it really easy to view the best deals on great seats. The Gametime app makes it really easy to search for the game or event that you're looking for and browse through all the amazing deals they have to offer. When I'm using the Gametime app, I'm always surprised by how many other events I come across outside of just sports. They have deals for concert tickets and shows there too. My favorite feature is the Super Deal, which shows you the best seat value available for an event. I know you'll love Game Time as much as I do because they also show you the seat view before you buy. So you get a panoramic view from your seat right there in the app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code GLORY for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code GLORY, GLORY, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. You know, it was your sophomore season. You guys had it was kind of a breakout year for you. You know, of course, you guys get a chance to go and take down Alabama. You know, something that we both, share in common. How was that for you guys to be able to go, take down the big dog of the SEC, especially during that time?
It was an amazing feeling. I feel like it was great for the state of South Carolina in general. Like, obviously, I played football for the university, but I feel like for the state, like just knowing that. And most of us was from South Carolina, so I felt like that kind of won over a lot of players too. Started going out of state, like that was a key moment for all of us. But in the game, in real time, like I don't know, like I said, we was confident. Like we felt that we was the better team, so we just Coach Spurrier kind of fired us up too, though. I would say that too, though. He kind of did. He got us going. He know what he was doing. He pushed the right button.
So you got any stories, obviously, about your guys in South Carolina? Any off the field stuff? Any good stories that we can talk about a little bit?
I would say probably after the Alabama game, the night after the Alabama game, we went downtown. It's called 5 Points, and we had a good time. But we always hang out at this one spot, but this one particular night, like Garcia was back there being the bartender. I'm like, that's our starting quarterback, but they was just letting them have a good time. I feel like they was just letting them pour all the drinks for everyone, and we had a great time, and he was standing on the bar. Like, that was pretty crazy.
The party's always a little bit different after you beat Alabama, for sure.
I felt like, it was like the Super Bowl, if we won the Super Bowl, so yeah.
You got a chance while you're at South Carolina to play with one of, I think, my favorite teammates and favorite people that I got to be around, Connor Shaw. He's a legend in my eyes, man. Talk a little bit about him and how he was, obviously, playing with him at SC.
I feel like Connor came in, we welcomed him with open arms, and it was just about his experience. Like, Connor, he knew ball in and out. Like, he knew, like, all the positions. He's a player's coach. I believe his dad coached him, his brother coached. He's a professional, like, and he's definitely funny outside off the football field, so you know that. But Connor cool. He was real positive always, even when him and Garcia, like, they never had no like turmoil against each other. He just like handled like a professional and just waiting on his turn and just ready to play.
And Garcia was a guy that obviously was a wild boy. Obviously, a good football player though too as well. How was it playing with him?
I love Garcia. Like. He a tough competitor. He compete with some of the best. And he one of the best shit talkers too. He talk a lot of shit too.
Yeah. It's nice to have a guy like that at the QB position who could talk some shit and back it up.
Y'all kind of assuming out there on the football field when y'all get going, y'all talk a lot of shit, and when y'all be balling and making plays, yeah.
No doubt, you let them know.
So obviously, like I said, I was a big receiver. I played with I was a big receiver, and quarterback chemistry was huge in college. But we do have something in common. Like you playing with Mike, how was that like? And also that Alabama game. Could you elaborate on that game?
Yeah, no, I think playing with Mike, I got a chance to come in with him and have a redshirt year together. So, whenever you're not playing and you're kind of find your footing a little bit as a young, freshman on the team, you're getting a chance to go on scout team and getting a chance to kind of, go off script a little bit, run some of these other offenses that you're, scouting for the defense throughout the week. I knew very early on that Mike was just going to be a beast, not only from his size and being a big receiver, but just as physical as he was, especially as a young age when you're pushing around junior and seniors at the cornerback position, you see something special in a guy. And then, that's really a lot of where our chemistry kind of first started and first developed, just being able to, or you're going on those scout teams and you're going against all these D linemen and stuff who are starters against our scout team. They're blowing by you. It's always a sack and everything, but just being able to throw balls up to Mike, I think really having that scout team year and that redshirt year, prepared us for time being able to play together. And then, as I get a chance to start in that first 2012 season, you really get a chance to see him kind of come into his own. And then you get a chance to go into Alabama and, a team that during those times was, Saban only lost. There was only a couple losses. You guys beat them one time, we beat them once. But outside of that, there was only a handful of teams that really were, beating Alabama during that time. So, I mean, we went in as 15.5-point underdogs and going in there in a season where we're having a good year. We had lost to Florida and we had lost to LSU that year, but, we really didn't have anything to lose. We felt like we were playing good football. We felt like, we had a good scheme and a good plan, but to go in and score on the first 3 drives of the game, get on top of them early and kind of not give them any room to be able to breathe was, such a huge thing for us. And then, after that kind of happened, you see that stadium at nighttime kind of get loud. They're getting the crowd's getting, them back into it. And during those times, you're playing against, some beasts that they have on that defense and on that offense. AJ was really, really good for them at the quarterback position as well. So I really feel like in that second half, we were just trying to make enough plays to be able to kind of hang on because, Bryant Denny's a tough place to go in and be able to play.
I think that, like I said, I was a big fan, but I also won a lot of money that day. Because I felt like the blueprint to beat Alabama in those times, if you had a big receiver, I always gave them trouble. So, and if you look at the history of it, that's how I felt like that was like the scouting report, if I must say.
Playing for, Steve Spurrier had to be, I get a chance to see him every year at the Heisman, a guy that I look at and view as a legend. How was it, playing for a guy like that had to be fun being a player for him?
It was fun. Coach Spurrier, he got a little voice. He tells his little jokes here
his
and
little
there.
Stories and shit, too.
Yeah. It was fun, though. He used to always say, so I used to be a running joke in the quarter, he's like, when in doubt, just throw it to Alshon. I don't care what kind of trouble you're in. So all the time, the quarterbacks used to always know, even in practice, so if it's a scramble drill, he used to always just say, just throw it up to me. But I would just say, most of all, I felt like his importance of just his details and just making sure that we worked hard because obviously he had the Florida team, so we got to hear about Florida, Danny Wolfer, his favorite player, and all those days. So I feel like we kind of took that personal, but he did. I feel like he did a great job of comparing the two.
You guys were obviously really good, throughout those times that you were there. You go to the SEC Championship game for the first time in school history. You guys end up losing to Auburn, but, that had to be, a big season for you guys to finally get over that hurdle and get to that championship game, even though it didn't go the way you guys wanted.
I mean, it was a great, successful season, but we definitely I know we personally wanted to win the game.
You just ran into a beast, the Cam, man. It had to be just sitting there watching that game on the sideline from that side, too. Had to be like, damn.
I feel like the first game we should have won.
Yeah.
The second game in the championship game, before halftime, if they don't make the Hail Mary touchdown catch, I think that because we get the ball coming out at half, but that stole the momentum. I feel like that we lost the momentum in the game. It was over ever since then. I mean, after that.
You obviously played with you guys had some huge names on those teams at South Carolina. You got Clowney, Melvin Ingram, Stephon Gilmore, to name a few. It had to be nice knowing that, you had those guys on the defensive side of the ball, rocking for you guys to be able to get it back to you. I know, but some real beast on that side.
I feel like every day I seen it in practice, from the D-line to everybody like that. I seen it every day. I will say they probably dominated most practice, so we was prepared for somebody who did had a tough defense because I feel like if you play quarterback, you didn't get the ball off too much. Because Spurrier always blew a sack, so I feel like I kind of prepared us with the timing and everything, so it was tough.
I remember hearing some funny stories around that time about Clowney. Clowney was a guy who was obviously really highly recruited, but I heard Clowney was getting money at South Carolina, man. I used to hear some funny stories about that for sure.
I don't know anything about that. I don't know nothing about that.
Beginning of your junior season, ESPN ranked you as the best overall player in the SEC. Obviously that felt like, had to feel like for you a little bit that, you were just coming into your own, and this is kind of what it was meant to be. It didn't feel like any extra pressure or hype or anything for you, though, did it?
Nah, not at all. I just felt like I ain't really read into it too much anyway. So if they told me, I would hear about it. I just always kept my head down. Let's keep working. The job is not done. It's a huge accomplishment, but it's about us. It ain't about me.
The last game of your college career, obviously a little bittersweet. Capital One Bowl, you went off. You got into it, ended up getting ejected from the game, but still won the MVP. What kind of led up to that, and how did that end up kind of happening a little bit?
I think the getting ejected from the game was a misunderstanding. I'm not sure, just a competitive nature, but and I feel like I was getting the best of them, so they had to do something. Shit.
Did you ever talk with him much, anything after that or anything, or it was kind of just something that happened in the game a little bit and it was on to the next?
It was just something that happened in the game. Like, it wasn't nothing that serious. You just in the way of what we trying to do, like, and we trying to win the game and we kicking y'all ass. That's all that was.
After that season, you declared for the draft. Was that always the plan? You think about coming back for another year?
I feel like for 2 weeks when I made the decision, the next week I still was like, shit, I need to go back. I want to go back to school. Like, I feel like I miss my friends, my family. So I really wasn't. And then I'm like, shit, fuck it. I'm in it now, so I might as well just finish it. But I definitely had the mixed emotions about it. Because I feel like we still had a championship team. If I come back, we can win a national championship. So
it's obviously tough whenever you decide you're going to go to the draft, you put your papers in, then they give you that little week window in there where you can kind of change your mind a little bit. I know I was the same way, where I was enjoying my time in College Station, just trying to be like, is this something I still really want to do? I got 2 years left of eligibility, so I definitely know that feeling and what it's like when you feel like, you still have some left with your guys from college.
That also sounds like somebody who's getting money too.
When you think back about it, and obviously you got a chance to play a lot of ball, who do you think, when you lined up against, would be the best competitor you went up against, whether it be college or NFL? Who was the best corner you had to face?
I would say the best corner that I faced, probably me and Stephon, we played against each other. I mean, we was in college together and we played a lot in high school coming up together and stuff like that. But I would say besides Stephon, I would say in the NFL probably Jason Verrett.
Yep.
I know he had a lot of injuries, but if he was healthy, I felt like he wasn't that tall, but he could be. He gave me a tough battle. Like I say that because he only got, I feel like, a pick six. Like, he got a pick six against me, and I took that personally. After that, the game changed. But other than that, I would say, like, yeah, he was. If you go check his film and his stats, like, when he's healthy, like, he's up there with some of the best.
Obviously, getting a chance to go against a guy like Stephon Gilmore and practice every single day obviously makes you better when you see a guy that caliber and that talent that you get to go up against. You get to see how his technique is different in practice and stuff. You obviously has to make you better going against a guy like that day in and day out.
I used to, even on run plays, and that's what I feel like. That's how I used to use all the going against him. I used to practice against him, so I used to give him a move, then a different move, and see if it works. So when I go up in the game against anybody, like, I feel that Stephon, he's 6'1", he got great speed, he can stop on the dime, he got all the cover skills. So if I could do it against him, I feel like I'm unstoppable.
I looked up to guys like Vince, Cam. I love watching Mike Vick play when he was in college. Who were guys that you looked at the receiver position and said you kind of wanted to play like that and emulate?
I would say probably it's a few, because Calvin Johnson, he was special. Peter Warrick was special. I could keep going on and on, but I just felt like Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, Peter Warrick. I'm just going with that for right now.
I saw this game while I was scrolling the other day. You have to choose to start a player, bench a player, and trade a player. All right, current NFL guys. You got Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Justin Jefferson. You got to start a player, bench a player, and trade one.
And I feel like they all different receivers too, though.
I'll give you mine. I'm gonna start Jamar. I'm gonna bench Justin Jefferson, and I'm gonna trade Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that's tough to even do. Somebody's got to go.
I'm gonna start Justin.
All right.
I'm gonna bench Jamar because I can't trade him. So, but Amon-Ra, I'm gonna have to trade him.
Right.
I'm gonna have to trade him. So I'm gonna ask you the same question with quarterbacks. So bench, start, or trade? Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Jalen Hurts? Man,
I'm in a no-win situation here with having to trade one of these guys. I think you have to start Mahomes, obviously, with the Super Bowls, what he's done the last couple years. I got to put Josh Allen on the bench, and as much as I love Jalen, I'm gonna have to trade him. He just, if he gets over that hump this year and goes to the Super Bowl, I'll put him in the starting spot. As we keep going on, I want to know your top 5 Gamecocks of all time. Who do you think the top 5 are all time?
I mean, I'm not including myself, right?
You can include yourself. I think you're probably on that list for sure.
All right, I'm gonna say Marcus Lattimore, Sterling Sharp. I know a lot of you guys don't know, but do your research, look that up. George Rogers, because he won our Heisman Trophy, so I got to. He got to be in there. And I'm going to go with Sidney Rice, John Abraham.
I'm surprised I didn't hear a Clowney on there.
Clowney honorable mention because I could have said a lot of players that I played with.
For sure.
So who's your top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC that either you played against? I mean, your all-time favorite top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC.
All-time top 5 SEC quarterbacks. Got to put Cam in there for sure. Joe Burrow's got to go in there. Oh, that season they had at LSU 2019. That's probably, with the current day and age, probably one of the best football teams that we've seen, especially in the SEC. Those stats and those numbers from that year are nuts. Man. Who else? Tebow's got to go in there for sure. What he did at Florida during those times. Legendary. I got Cam, Tebow, Burrow. Who else?
Not Johnny?
I put myself in there. I was there for a quick 2 years. I didn't have the full career, so I put myself in there for who's my 5 that I liked playing or that I thought was a legend. Jaden Daniels last year was really fun to watch too. I think he really, I'm definitely a big fan of the dual threat of the guys who are running around a little bit. So that's probably my list. I'll go Cam 1, Burrow 2, Tebow 3, myself 4, and then I'll put Jaden at 5. And I think that's a solid list. South Carolina recently retired your jersey. That had to mean, a lot to you to have that moment and obviously share it with your kids and your family now. How was that? How was that experience?
It was a special moment. I mean, I feel like it was I appreciate it, well deserved. It was a great honor. And I feel like everything I set out to do, it came true and everything, as long as I worked hard, but also I feel like it was no place like home. Just doing all that and being able to go back home and doing it in a special place at home, just getting my jersey retired. But also, like I said, it was special just being at home. Like, that's a special moment.
When you go back and you kind of see that happening, it has to bring back some good memories. What do you feel like some of your best memories were, obviously playing, at that stadium and playing for the Gamecocks?
I would say probably the Alabama game, that Kentucky game you was talking about. And probably my first touchdown I played against South Carolina State. That's close to my hometown. My cousin right there, he's from that's from where he's from. But that was some of the great moments.
As you're not playing anymore, what's your relationship with football nowadays? Are you still watch a little bit of it? You still pretty tapped into college and the NFL? You watch the Gamecocks? How's the relationship with football now?
I'm more tapped in with college football than NFL. I feel like I don't really watch that until November. When it get later on in the season, I feel like that's when things really start to get the rolling and things start to shift and everybody sorts itself out. But I'm definitely paying attention a lot more in college football.
Mostly South Carolina. Obviously you guys had a good season this year, trying to get to tried to get into the playoffs, sneak into the playoff, beat my Aggies this year, but. I feel like you guys obviously have have some potential moving forward.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to build from, and we can learn from this season. But I like the way we are going. It's positive direction. And I feel like as a SEC as the whole, I feel like it's a great conference. They're in a great space.
It's been interesting adding the 2 teams to the conference this year. Obviously, it's a little bit of a different look.
But they also brought back a lot of old rivalries too.
No doubt.
I love it.
You haven't officially retired, but are you still training? Still considering about playing? Are those days kind of done for you?
Yeah, those days over with. But
you like this side of life now better?
Yeah, I don't miss out on a lot of things. I can go to a lot more activities and hang out with my family and friends. I appreciate this side of it more.
No doubt. What are things in your life now that you've done since you've got away from football? Obviously, you got more time for family and friends and be able to do stuff like that. But I feel like there's it's a big difference of how much free time you have on your hands to be able to try and fill that,
I feel like just getting in a routine, it's an adjustment at first, but just getting in a routine, just applying what you did and dedication what you did with the football and all the hard work. It's the same thing that you can apply to the rest of your life. It's just the structure, probably not being a routine. You got to be here at a certain time. You so used to doing that. It's just applying that and just getting in a better routine of it.
Yeah. What have you been filling your time with now that football and practice doesn't take up the most of it?
Taking photos, recording stuff like a production company and stuff I've been working on that I got in the works. So I feel like that's what most of my time been, and just with my family and friends and stuff like that.
You know, when you look back at football, you know, how do you really want your legacy to kind of be, you know, remembered as a football player?
I would just ultimately, hopefully, I inspired my teammates to be better and just be a better teammate, or whatever they learn, like learn something life outside of football, like wherever that is. Just I know I'm known for being a Super Bowl champion and Pro Bowl, but none of that really matters if I ain't really giving you some game about life in general, of just being something inspiring, just staying positive.
No doubt. Well, you know, before we go a little bit, I also want to get, you know, your prediction on what you feel the Super Bowl is going to be this year. Who you think is going to end up taking it?
I think my Super Bowl prediction, I think it's going to be the Eagles and the Bills.
Eagles and the Bills? I like that matchup.
Eagles winning, you know that. Fly, Eagles fly.
Of course. Well, more than anything, bro, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time out of your day. It's always love. Two SEC boys. My man, I wish you nothing but the best moving forward, and, you know, all love.
I appreciate same to you, bro. I appreciate you for having me. Like I said, I'm a big fan. I love watching your game, so I appreciate it.